Hello everyone, welcome to Game Tech UK, and this video which is my review of the PlayStation 5 version of Alaskan Road Truckers. So let's get on with today's video. Clocking in at just 13 gigabytes on the PlayStation 5, this is a great game. If you know the channel, you know I've played this, the PC version, many times. I'm a big supporter of it. I think it's a great game, and I'm so excited that it's here on console. We're going to jump straight in, have a look at the graphics, have a look at the actual, how the port has gone over to the console version, and let you know if it's worth your money. So let's dive straight in at the start of the game. If you've been following the progress of the PC version on the channel, you'll recognise this location. We're outside the roadside inn motel, where we're going to pick up our first job. We've got our starter truck there. This is the starting location. Let's go to the job manager and pick up our first job. There's only one job to start with, and that is refinery equipment. You need an A license, which you get immediately as you start the game, and the difficulty is ranked as easy. So let's accept that job and go over to the truck. For the first job, the truck is already reversed into position. We just need to do 3 jobs. The first is to lock the trailer into position. The second is to raise the trailer supports. You just do that by pressing X and going right on the analog stick. That's going to move your trailer supports up. The last and final job is the managing of the cables. So we're going to come here and quite easily we're going to put green to green. And the same with the red. That goes over to the red socket. All cables are connected and the truck is now ready for the first delivery. Looking at the door and pressing X will get us inside the cab. Once inside the cab, you've got a couple of options with regards to how you control the truck. You could physically go over to the engine start button, or as the screen says, you could just press down on the D-pad. So let's do that. Same with the handbrake. You could go over to the handbrake and press X on there to turn the handbrake off, or you could just go up on the D-pad. It depends, I suppose, on the level immersion that you're looking for. As with most driving games, you can just press R2, the right trigger, to pull away and control your acceleration. And that's what we're going to do here. We're on automatic gears at the moment and controller, of course. So we're using the left analog to steer, the right trigger to accelerate. We're using the right analog to look around the truck, and I will show you around the truck in detail in a second. But as we make our way out of the roadside inn, the game tells us we can press square to change the camera. So we've got a third person view, and we can use the right analog to literally control that anywhere we want, whether it be front, back or side of the truck. We've made our way to the entrance of the roadside motel, and I thought I would just pause here just to give you an idea of the clarity of the textures, the resolution, how the game actually runs and looks on the PlayStation 5 before continuing. So we're going to go up on the D-pad to turn that handbrake off. We're going to press R1 to put the indicator on, and we're just going to have a look around using the right analog. It's all clear, so let's carry on our way. We can look at the mirrors there to make sure that we're not going to hit that stop sign, and make our way over to the right hand side of the road. Now you will notice straight away that the graphics are aimed at 4K 30 frames per second. Now I wouldn't be too alarmed by that. I've been playing this now for quite a few hours, and yes, initially you're like, oh, it's 30 frames, but honestly, and I do mean this honestly, it's not just because I'm positive about the game, I honestly don't think at the moment it matters. The level of game that we've got here on the PlayStation 5 is absolutely fantastic. We've finally got a trucking game that really does stand up to everything else that is available on PC. And it just means at the moment it's 30 frames a second. It wouldn't surprise me if we get some kind of update. There isn't a choice in the graphical options for maybe a 1080p 60 option, which I think really should be there. But at the moment it's aimed at 4K 30. And I think it's alright. I don't think that's going to be of a main issue. I'd love to discuss this with you in the comments section, because obviously everybody wants 60 frames a second. But in this particular title, being a sort of chilled, relaxed drive, and as you can see here, you know, there isn't a huge amount of pop-up. Everything looks clear. Everything looks nice. So that sacrifice at 30 frames, I think, is worth it. As we come into fuel, you can gauge a little bit more about the sort of unique selling point of this particular game. The fact that you can get out of your truck, and it's a lot more of a hands-on experience than compared to other trucking games on console. So you can see down there we have got the marker lined up in green, so we're well within the designated area for fuel. Now we're going to go down on the D-pad, which is the opposite of turning the engine on. We're going to turn that off, and we're going to go up on the D-pad to put the handbrake on, which you need to do for safety. As I say, this is where the game comes alive. You're able to get out and stretch your legs and actually do things manually. So we're going to put some fuel in there. We're just going to go up to the plus amount, and we'll put 35 litres in there. Pick up the pump and place it inside the fuel tank, and the game does the rest. You can see the actual display working. That's already done, so we're going to pick up the pump nozzle one more time and place it back in the holder. You pay automatically. You don't need to go inside the garage to pay for the fuel. It's all done at the pump. You can, however, still go into the garage and pick up your food. So we've got a food shelf which we can press X to interact, and you can buy any of this, and you've got an inventory slot over on the left, so you've got that many slots to be able to buy things. So say for example we want some peanuts, you can hold there, and we want some canned food. We also, of course, want some instant soup. You can still go up to the attendant, because he or she will sell you things you can't find on the shelf, such as engine oil, headlight bulbs, a camera if you want to start taking pictures at POIs, truck batteries, and tyre chains. Let's make our way back to the truck. Sound is important in a game like this, and the trucks sound meaty and powerful, and when you're going uphill with a heavy load you can really hear the engine and the exhaust straining to keep that power. There's a difference between the external vehicle sound and the internal sound. Just overall the sound is really impressive. There's a new menu that you can gain access to when you're in the cab by holding down X. Now what this will do, this will put the game in slow motion and give you a radial dial of various different options, really easy to get to. So for example, we want to turn the dashboard lights on, we choose that, we let go of the analog stick, and your lights are on. So we're going to make our first drop off now. We can go to external view to make it nice and easy. There's two places you can park. You can park, as you can see, with the smaller area of the shape there for your cab. So you could park here and you get parking precision. So you could park there, or if you didn't want to be that precise, we could just park anywhere in this large area. So we could just park here, for example, and it would still count. So again, it depends on the level of immersion you want and the level of difficulty. Time to drop off the first load, starting with lowering the supports. That's left on the left analog. Now we can unplug the cables, and this is exactly the reverse process as it was to connect them up. Putting the green to the green again. And you can hear the ambient sound as well, which is really good. Another aspect of the sound quality in this game. When you go to locations, there's different ambient sounds going on, just to give you that immersion of actually dropping it off at the right location. The last thing to do is to unlock the trailer. Now with the cargo fully unlocked, it's time to go and hand the job in. You know it's the right person to hand the job in because they've got a white outline on them, and it's just as simple as going up to them, pressing X to interact, and it gives you a summary of the amount of money that you earn, the experience, etc., and the rise or drop in your reputation. We just press X there, and we're done. As we walk back to our truck, you can see the level of detail here. There's no huge pop-in. In fact, there's no pop-in at this particular area. The lighting's really nice. It all feels really, really smooth. I am genuinely impressed with the port over to the PlayStation version. So let's make our way to our HQ, and we can see what we can do there. Now, as we make our way to the headquarters and we look in the mirror, you can see one negative, I suppose, is the fact that the resolution and refresh rate is very low in the mirrors. They are quite jerky. We do also have UI mirrors as well. Holding down right on the D-pad will bring up the sort of fade-in version of the mirrors, and holding right on the D-pad again will bring in the solid version. I mean, you know, they are lower resolution than I would have liked. It does, however, help when you are in third person to have those mirrors up on the screen. And my own personal opinion is that yes, they are very low, and it's also a little bit off-putting as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if we get optimization on those, if the community itself is vocal enough about the fact that they are quite off-putting and the resolution is too low. But we have got UI mirrors. This is our HQ. This is where we're going to be able to control a lot of our sort of business side of the game. So we're going to park alongside. This time we're going to use the dials on the actual dashboard to turn the engine off and to put the handbrake on. Let's get out the trunk and go inside. The HQ is really cool, actually. It looks a great place. There's lots of detail, lots of immersion here. There's a storage cupboard should your inventory get full. There's also some freebies in there as well, like a flashlight and some tyre change to save you buying them. There's also some painkillers. If you use those painkillers, you will unlock an achievement. As we make our way into the kitchen, you can see there's an oven in here, so you can prepare yourself more nutritious meals. There's also a fridge as well. So again, if you want to put stuff over, like your instant soup, for example, spoils in 6 days. By putting it into the fridge, that's going to extend its life. Contained within your office, there's also a restroom as well. You've got some stuff here just for immersion and decoration, but there is a bed, and you can have a better night's sleep in here than you can in your truck. The main features of the HQ are all contained within the computer. We can just use X to interact with that. The first thing you'll be able to do with the computer is visit the truck dealer. Here you'll be able to see all the trucks that are available in the 4 different classes. In Class 1, you've got the starting truck. This is the truck we're driving at the moment, and there is currently only 1 truck in Class 1. In Class 2, there is another truck, and you can click Show More Details. Looks really nice, that one. You can't rotate round, which I think is a bit of a shame. You can show more details and show the interior, but again, you can't look round in here, so that's a bit of a shame as well. I'd really like to see what the interior looks like. In Class 3, there's 2 trucks. They do look very, very similar. If we click on there, we'll get an image of the truck. Again, it would be nice to be able to rotate the camera around. If we show more details, and it shows you the difference, like 602 horsepower and 260 gallons. And the second one that was there has less power but a much bigger fuel tank capacity, and this one, for example, is going to cost you $85,000, and that's going to take quite a while to grind away at to be able to afford that. And I think that's a good thing. Sometimes in games they make it so easy to be able to purchase stuff like this, and you never feel that reward that you've earned it. So the fact that it's quite expensive, it's going to take you quite a while to earn that, is a good thing. There's 2 available in Class 4, and this is the truck that I'm trying to save up for. It looks really cool, and I do like the fact that in the sleeper cab, it's got a large window. I do like sitting in the sleeper cab, cooking, working out my inventory, etc. It's quite a cozy aspect to the game. So the fact it's got a large window on there is really good. If we click show more details, you can see it's 896 horsepower and the interior looks pretty good as well. So that's one that I'm saving up for. Given the fact that the console version is called the Highway Edition, it's got all available DLC in it, such as the Mother Trucking DLC and the Trucking Hell. These are DLC skins that are included in the game for the base truck, and both of these can be purchased for no money at all. So if you're looking for something just to represent that starting truck a little bit differently, come across to the Special tab. Conveniently, if you do change your mind on any of your trucks, there is a place here to sell them back. Interestingly, under the sell option over on the left, it does say Class 6. Now, this could just be a labelling mistake as it's the 6th in the option, or it could mean that there's new classes coming to the game. Next up is Manage HQ. Here you can expand the services that are available to yourself by adding a workshop, a customization workshop, adding more parking for when you purchase new trucks, and adding a tyre workshop. The cool thing is, as you purchase new buildings, such as the customization and the tyre workshop, they will visually appear in your HQ, giving you a real feeling of progression with your career within the game. Next down the list is jobs. Now we can go here to actually work out what we're going to do within the game. Now you can pick a mission giver, and if all the jobs are red like that, that just simply means that we haven't got the license available to us to do that actual job. So we could come down to this one, for example, which is just requiring an A license, which, as I said, you get that straight away. And if you press square, that will actually put a waypoint to that mission giver. You can drive there and then accept the job. You could set the filter top left of the screen just to show you license A jobs. That means that anything with an icon you can drive to and pick up a job. Also, you don't have to come to the computer to get your job. You can also do this from the main menu as well. Then we have the Alaskan Bank. This is ideal if you don't want to wait to grind away and earn that money. If you want to just get the money straight away to be able to open up your first customization workshop, for example, you can come up here, get a loan of up to £20,000. It tells you how much is to be paid back, and then you can go on a spending spree. You can also call in a replacement, so if any time you want to change your character, this is the place that you're going to come to be able to change that and choose some of the characters maybe from the DLCs that are included in the Highway Edition, or just generally have a freshen up of your character. So far, so good. You can see there's lots of different layers to the gameplay element of the game. But now let's fast forward to another save that I've been working on to show you some more elements of the gameplay. In this particular save, I've done a lot of deliveries. We're up to 1,700 miles on the speedometer. And if you look bottom right, you can see I've got an issue with my radiator. I've also got a headlight bulb out. While we're sitting here looking at this traffic jam, that also leads me on to AI. Now, usually I don't have a problem with the AI. If anything, my complaint is there isn't enough AI. But given the sort of remote location of Alaska, sometimes that sort of makes sense. So usually I don't have a problem like this, but I've just been sitting here ready to fix my radiator and my headlight, and some of the AI have crashed into each other, and so you do get these problems. It is a common occurrence with smaller indie titles, and they have always been working on the AI on the PC version, but clearly there are still some issues. If we go to the inventory, you can see that currently I'm holding headlight bulbs, some coolant, and some engine oil. You can see the driver's side headlight bulb is out. Because we've got them in our inventory, we can just go up to it, interact, and it's fixed. To repair our radiator, we need to open the hood. You can do that by pressing X on the controller to interact and open it. When you've interacted with the radiator to repair it, you'll be presented with a brief minigame requiring you to hold down the X button on the controller and pressing L1 when the little mark goes in the green. It's very easy, very brief. When it's repaired, you'll get some XP. Because we've got that oil in the inventory, we can also top that up as well. Because we're holding that coolant, we can also do the same with the coolant level. And I think it's just a really good aspect of the game to not only look after your truck with regards to maintenance and replacing parts, but also yourself with regards to making sure that you're well slept and you're well fed. It's a really good part of the game. Now, when I play this game on PC, I always get asked about the map size. Now, I wouldn't describe this as a huge map. I certainly wouldn't describe it as a small map. And like I've said in countless live streams, I think if you drive around the map at an immersive pace and not just try and get there as quick as you can, the map is more than large enough. And the fact that there are 4 different seasons, that really extends the longevity of the environment. As I say, I've done about 1,700 miles in this particular save, and I slept quite a few times. There's 2 ways you need to know whether you need to sleep or not. Bottom left icons, the 3rd one on the right is your sleep icon. You need to sleep before that goes down. The other more obvious reminder, your driver will start to yawn and close his eyes. Top left of your screen will tell you which particular part of the season you're in. You can see the white marker is telling us that we're coming to the end of fall. And if you are going to sleep in your cab, you need about 3 different sleep cycles to be able to move on that white marker. You can expand your gameplay by collecting XP, and you can unlock different perks in 3 different sections. That's to do with your personality, your trucking, or your mechanical experience. So, for example, every time we repair that radiator or fix something on the truck, you'll get XP there, and you'll be able to unlock things such as, allowing you to build a tyre workshop, for example. The more you drop off your deliveries, the more XP you'll get there, which will go into trucking, allowing you to unlock more classes of vehicles. You can unlock more personality traits with regards to things like cooking and eating, getting more XP that way. That will allow you to do more things as a person, like getting rid of roadblocks or increasing your inventory size. Now, you may have noticed from that blurred screen there that while we've been sitting here making this video, we've had a downpouring of snow. We're getting towards the end of fall, and that's what's happened. So that's going to make gameplay very interesting. Because we're only towards the end of fall, we're not actually in winter yet. There's only a smattering of snow. There's not enough to cause us any problems or give us any hassle. I have got the heater on inside the truck. That keeps you nice and warm. That saves your food usage going down. You don't need to sleep as often, and it's quite cozy as well. With regards to this console version being the Highway Edition, that means that we've got access to the Ice Roads DLC, which has its own unique elements of gameplay. So let's make our way up there and show you some of that. One thing to mention as we're on our way up to the Ice Roads DLC is that when there is snow as a graphical element, you do get a little bit more pop in and pop up of trees. Actually, you get pop out of snow. The snow sort of disappears as you drive forward, and you can see some of the trees popping up. It's nothing game breaking, but I thought I would mention it. Now, interestingly, you gain access to the Ice Roads DLC by navigating through this very long and single lane bridge. Once you're on the end of the bridge, then you are in the Ice Road DLC section. So we parked up at the entrance to the Ice Roads DLC, and the first thing I want to do is just pop into this shop and get a couple of supplies from the shopkeeper. And the first thing I'm going to buy is a radiator cover. This will help your truck maintain its temperature even in freezing temperatures. I will also get some tyre chains as well. I know there are some at the garage, but the garage or the headquarters is quite a way away. I want to make sure that I'm prepared whilst I'm up here. And because the temperature is telling us it's -15, I'm going to use a radiator cover simply by pointing at the radiator, clicking interact, and it says we're going to use 1 radiator cover for this. Choose that, and your truck is fully protected from the freezing cold elements. Again, for immersion, I think this is a fantastic element of the game. Now, unfortunately, the area around Ice Roads is full of jobs that you can't actually do yet. They require a B or a C license. In fact, there is only one job, and that's this one top left, and that requires an A license. So it's a little bit disappointing that they've included the Ice Roads DLC, but to start with, there's only literally one job you can do. Now, regardless of what the weather's doing elsewhere on the map, it will always be snowy and icy up here. So if you ever want to experience snow, but it's spring down on the main map, you can come up here at any time and it's under these conditions. In fact, if you come up here in spring when it's on the main map, you'll be able to catch a boat from that area there. That will take you across and make the deliveries even easier. Looking bottom right of the screen, you can see that since I've started getting in the snow, I've had a small accident. My air filter needs replacing. I need to repair the radiator again. And I've got an oil sump leak as well. So as soon as you get into winter, the gameplay does ramp up a notch. I'm not going to show you too much from the Ice Road DLC, I want you to experience that yourself. Suffice to say, if you look bottom left, you will see that we are on a frozen lake. So with a big heavy truck like this, if we were to stay still, the marker at the top of the screen would start filling up, saying that we're basically going to crack through the ice. Same thing goes for the top speed. If we were to drive too fast, we would essentially be driving dangerously, and we're going to fall through the ice and we're going to drown. If you die in the game through drowning, as we've just seen, or starvation, or you've fallen asleep whilst driving, you will get put up to the hospital. Your truck will be fully repaired and waiting for you. It's not really a bad thing to die in the game. You do get a financial penalty, but you can just get back on with your career. If you want this level of challenge right from the start of the game, choose Legend difficulty, and it means that you've got difficult weather conditions and more demanding orders. You start in winter with a jacket, wheel chains, in your truck equipment, and you've got to do your best to survive. The game has some cool achievements, and they're quite generous as well, although I have been playing for quite a few hours now, but I'm already at 41% with 11 out of 31 trophies. I think it's no surprise, given my review, to say that I'm really positive about this game. I think it's fantastic. I like the concept of the game anyway, but talking about the port over to PlayStation, I think it's been done very, very well. The majority has all been done in-house by Road Studios, and I think it really shows the attention to detail, the way it runs, the way it plays, the way it looks as well. It really is on par, almost, with the PC version. Now, I'm quite aware that there will be people that once they hear that it's 30 frames a second will be completely put off, and I totally understand that. All I can say here is that if you compare it to the other trucking experiences we've been offered on console before, if 30 frames is the worst thing we can say about this game, we're already absolutely winning. The fact that it's 30 frames, I think you've seen from the gameplay, once you get immersed and start playing it, I genuinely can say you don't really think about it. And it wouldn't surprise me later on down the line if there's a quality of life option to offer us maybe a lower resolution at 60 frames a second. But genuinely, don't be put off by it. Mirrors on trucking games on console have always been a bone of contention, and it is here. They are far too low resolution and frames. It's a little bit off-putting when you have them on the screen, so I don't literally have them on because of that. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if later on down the line we get some optimizations there. I suppose that there's a lack of traffic. You're not always using your mirrors, so it's not that much of an issue, but it's definitely something that needs to be taken into consideration. One improvement that I'd like to see, and that's regardless of platform, is an improvement on the exterior and interior of the trucks. If you remember when we went to the truck dealer and we were looking at the different classes, some of the trucks were really quite basic, particularly the interior, or the parts of the interior that we could see anyway, like the dashboard, etc., was very, very basic. If you compare that to the environment, which I think is really nice, I think there's a bit of a mix match there, and I think improving the overall look of the trucks inside and outside would help improve the overall look and feel of the game. But finally, we've got a really decent trucking offering on console, and this is an absolute recommendation from me. Funnily enough, the price still hasn't been released. I'm sure by the time you see this video, it will be released. But as it is at the moment, we don't know how much it's going to cost. So that's going to be quite an interesting conversation to have in the comments section below. I love it, I think you will love it, and I think it's worth your time. This video has all been put together using the controller. I will be uploading other videos to see how it runs with a steering wheel, and of course the Xbox version as well. I'd love to know your thoughts after this very long 30-minute video. I had a lot of thoughts to put out, and I just felt that the video needed it to be able to give you the best information with regards to should you purchase another attempt of a trucking game on console. The answer is yes, by the way. But that is it, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.